Grab your pre-workout and turn up that volume. It is time for a new episode of the Powerlifter's Den with your host, Cam Smith. What's up, Powerlifter's Den family? Want to rep the podcast and look good while doing it? Check out my official merch store at plden.company.site. We've got tees, hoodies, beanies, hats, and more in gear that'll keep you motivated in and out of the gym. Every purchase helps support me and the podcast and keeps the den growing strong. So whether you're hitting a heavy squat session or just lounging in style, we've got you covered. Head to plden.company.site and grab your merch today. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Powerlifter's Den. I'm your host, Cam Smith, and today I wanted to bring on someone who's a fellow multiply powerlifter and someone who's been competing for a while. So, Lyndsay, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Lyndsay. I train out of Florida, Perfect Storm Gym, and I have my little gym, Beach Bodies, in my town, Melbourne.
Yeah. So kind of to get started, let's talk about your background. What kind of got you into powerlifting? I like to hear about everyone's story about what kind of drove them to powerlifting, whether it was sports or a random day or random person or whatever. So kind of tell us that first experience.
So when I got into powerlifting, it was like the beginning of like Instagram, like bodybuilding, like baddies and everything. And I had just gotten out of rehab. And so I had gained like a lot of weight. So I was like obsessed with like all of like trying to get back like thin. And so I was in the gym, and then I met a boyfriend at the time, and he was powerlifting and had just done a meet. And then I started going to the gym, like training with him. And he was like, I bet you're really strong. You should try this. And I think I deadlifted like 275 the first time that I went to the gym and peed myself. And I was like, this is interesting. I was like, I might be able to do this. And then, yeah, I signed up for my first meet and did it like, I think like 6 months later, and got like a coach. And then I started raw. And I said that I would never do multiply.
That's what we are. Yeah. Everyone in multiply has said that at one point, especially if you started in the past like 10, 15 years when like it's kind of like the quote unquote raw boom. So like anybody who's like, oh, I'll never do that stupid shit. And then next thing you know, you have like 7 plies on. And you're like, what am I doing? How did I get here?
Well, especially benching, I was like, I'm never getting that bench shirt. But the boyfriend at the time, he had done single ply like in high school and everything. And then he was doing raw at the time. And then he started to get into multiply. And then I was like, I'm not going to do it. And he would like have me like try his bench shirt on to like stretch it out, or like, and I put a suit on one time. And then I actually had a hip injury, and it was the pro-am, and I was raw, and I just couldn't, like, it just was bothering me so bad that I'd like only got like my opener. And I was like super frustrated with it. And that was kind of like, that was the time. So right after that, I literally messaged Daniel Tanero, and because I was squatting pretty decent at like raw. Like I had a 485 squat. So
I mean, yeah, that's a pretty good squat for.
I was like kind of in between the 148 and 165 class. Like I really didn't want to cut to 148, so I'd like be like in between and everything like that. So I had messaged him. Well, no, my boyfriend had messaged him. I was like, hey, so I have somebody that wants to squat 500, and Daniel was like, oh, cool, raw or in multiply, and he was like, no, raw, and he was like, all right, let's do it. So I had my next meet. My hip was still bothering me. It was the first storm meet. It was in a gym. Daniel came in a wheelchair because it was right after he messed up his knee. And I bombed on deadlifts. Raw. Does not happen usually.
Yeah.
And because my hips, I couldn't get my hips through because they were just like so messed up. So then it was kind of like, well, why don't you just put briefs on so you can still like get the work in, but like kind of.
So that's how they get you.
And I am.
That's what it is. It's like
I still wear those briefs.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of those things too. Like I'll always tell like some of the friends that are, or people at the gym that are raw. It's like, oh, just try on the briefs for like some overload work because I know once you put them on, they never come off again because
Yeah,
squatting in briefs is so fun. Like just briefs and wrap squatting is probably my favorite thing to do. Like full kit obviously can suck sometimes, and
yeah, a lot
bench,
of pressure.
sure, fuck that. I don't still don't like bench, but squatting and briefs and wraps is just it feels so good.
It does. Um, yeah, and I've started to, I wore the same pair of briefs. Like, I have the Predators, and I started in them, and I was a lot bigger. Like, I was closer to the 165 pounds, like, when I started. I mean, that was 2019, so, I mean, it's been a decent amount of time. Um, and so they were tight then. I can kinda put them on now without even, like, I just won't let them go. But now for squatting, I use the F8s. Bless you.
Thank you.
What do you use for briefs?
So I am using the F8 custom ones. They are 5 plies in the back with the corset on it, and I put on enough weight to where I don't really touch the corset anymore. So I'm kind of scared to keep gaining weight because if those don't fit, it ran me a pretty penny. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, my F8s, I battle them all the time, getting them on and getting them off. It takes like 3 people to get them off,
yeah,
but
I can get them on pretty easily, and then when the time it's time to come off, it takes about 4 people to get them off, and that was not the case when I first got them. So I'm definitely putting on the size that I want to, but yeah, I think hopefully they could fit me for at least a few more years before I have to drop another what $700 for all that stuff. And that's the part of it too, and we can kind of get into that about. I mean, obviously, you did Holy Wars 3, I did Holy Wars 3, and everyone knows everyone was talking shit on that meet, but that's just kind of the case with multiply. And it's like when I every time I think about like, oh, it's equipped is cheating, it's all this, blah blah blah, high squats. It's like I just remember seeing these people or me having to get in and out of these briefs and stuff, and it's like it's not we're not doing this to like cheat. It's way more difficult to do all of this stupid stuff just for the heavier weights. Like,
oh, yeah. My first meet, I remember going into the back room and seeing a guy up there was, like, 3 people that had him, like, hanging upside down on the mono, like, holding him there, trying to get his briefs off, and he was, like, upside down, like, just for a squat, and it's like, we do it a lot more for all the other reasons involved, not to have our ass touch the ground.
yeah, yeah, and it's like if you were actually at the meet and and like we won't necessarily dive into the meet, but we'll just talk about kind of multiply in general and the meets there. And like if you go to these meets, you realize what you're missing out on because it's the fun. We're all friends. Like, yes, it's very niche and it kind of makes it easier to be friends because we talk a lot about what we're doing for gear and what meets we're doing and things
Yeah,
like that. But the group of people we have is what makes it fun. Like I always say, we're not gonna remember this whatever we did on the platform. We're gonna remember all the people we met at those meets and things. So
yeah. Well, so I'm a bartender, and, like, I tell, like, my regulars and everything, like, about, like, the meets and stuff like that, and they can't comprehend, like, actually, like, what I do. Like, yes, I'm competing, but, like, I'm competing against myself for, like, my own records. Like, I care more about what's going on, like, on open powerlifting, like, where I'm ranked and everything like that. Like, if I win in a meet, like, that's cool.
yeah,
I mean, if I go to, like, anything that's not, like, an invitational or something like that, like, it's like, "Oh, did you get first place?" "Yeah, because I was the only person in my weight class, and I'm the only person that was multi-plot," like, kind of a thing. But, like, in these ones, they were like, "Oh, you didn't get first place?" And I'm like, "The coefficients, like, 1, all these other women are super, super strong too." Like, you know what I mean? Like, so this is a big thing, and their coefficient, it's not about, like, how much I actually lift, like, it comes all the other components and everything, and they just look at me and they're like, "Oh,
yeah. they're
great."
they're like, oh, like the strongman stuff on TV. It's like, ugh, no.
No, no, yeah, yep. Or they're always like, "Oh, you're doing this?" "Nope." I did not do that with 655 pounds this past weekend. No, I did not. Like, like
Yeah, and I think one of the it's funny when you talk about multiply, it's there's either the people that have no understanding of powerlifting and they're super supportive, or the people that have done it are supportive, and then everyone else is just like, oh, it's bullshit.
yeah,
And it's like
yeah,
that's why I love talking to people that don't know anything about powerlifting, and they're like, "How much you squat?" And I go 1,040. They're like, "Whoa, that's crazy!" And they're like, "It's like okay, I mean, it's still good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like once. Let me tell you, my friend squatted 1,300, and they're like, "How's that even possible?" And then you kind of get into the whole conversation of like, "Well, they use this and stuff," and then they're like, "Well, that's still impressive," rather than like,
yes.
"Oh, that's cheating."
It goes both ways. Like, it's like either one or the other.
Yeah,
Like, wow, like you still like did that. And I'm like, yeah. And then others are like, yeah, but you used this and you had knee wraps on. And I'm just like, our conversation is done. Like,
yeah,
like, yeah, I know, I'm like, you told me that you have bad knees. And so you only leg press now. Like,
yeah.
what you say is irrelevant. Like,
And so with getting into multiply, I know you mentioned you had the hip issues. Do you think you still would have found your way into multiply had it not been that?
I don't think so.
So it's kind of a blessing
No.
in disguise for you
Yeah. Yeah.
or a
It's
trap.
just because like there's sometimes now. So like I had a really long off season. Like I usually do like probably the way that it kind of works out, like 2 meets a year, but
Yeah.
like only like enough time to have like a little off season and then to like go right back into prep. And this time, because Holy Wars was like kind of pushed back, like it was in November 2 years ago, or and then so like since this one was pushed to February, there wasn't like really a meet that I could do in between to still be able to like prep correctly for Holy Wars. So I had a really long off season, and I did like for the first time, like I wanted to like see like what I could squat raw again and everything. Like I did it in sleeves and stuff, and I was like, okay, I mean that's not too bad. Like I was like, maybe I would want to do a raw meet, and then a cool multiply meet comes up and I'm like, "Oh, I still have this goal and this goal is like more important." But like I don't know how Tommy does it. Tommy
Yeah.
is like the coolest thing ever. Like just how I wish that she would have competed like, at Holy Wars, but she was going for a big goal and she listened to her body and she wants to be able to set something else at the last women's pro-am. So like, but the way that she does it, like she did raw, single ply, and multiply last year.
Yeah. I know I gotta go out there and get a single ply total at some point because my plan is I'm gonna do I think don't don't put this in stone yet, but just for shits and giggles, I think I'm gonna do a USAPL meet this summer in sleeves, and then probably gonna do the WPO in the fall, and it's kind of just like a it's sort of a joke, but I want to update my sleeve total anyways. And I was like, well, I'm still a tested athlete. I might as well go do it to super strict standards just to kind of prove the point that I don't
Yeah,
really care about where I'm competing.
yeah.
And so we'll see how that goes, and we'll see if that actually happens. But it's definitely an idea in my head.
I mean, I like it, especially after everything that was talked about for Holy Wars and everything. It's just like it's like we can do it. We can do it. We just choose like what we choose to do and not do.
Yeah,
So I think you should.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and before we kind of get into some of the meets you've done, let's talk about kind of making your way to Perfect Storm and what it's been like working with like Tommy and Danny and that whole crew down there. Because I was lucky enough to visit down there, and I think it was 2024. Wow, that was like 2 years ago. Um, at the showdown where it was 3,000 degrees. But
Yep.
so kind of just tell us about what it's been like working with them and how they've kind of impacted your life.
So, I lived in South Florida, before, and Florida is big.
Yeah,
So, like, um, when I lived in South Florida, Daniel was coaching me then, and so I didn't really make it up a lot to, like, go train with them and everything. I mean, it was like almost a 4-hour drive up there and
yeah,
then, like, 4-hour drive back, but I recently moved about an hour and a half away, so I really try to like go up. It's tough because there's squat Sundays. I work at night on Sundays, so it's like very tight schedule. Like I leave in the morning and I'm like literally like ripping my briefs off and trying to take some of the weights off of the bar, like, and then I'm like out the door to like go to work. But it's a different energy. I'm always like kind of like I've been in smaller um gyms like with like I've never had like a crew, but they've always been my crew, like away from home kind of a thing.
mhm,
They always welcome me in. I mean, I think it was after I think it was after the storm meet this past year, or was it after Holy Wars last year? And Tommy put me on the wall, like my total on the wall, and I freaking cried like a baby. Like I they're just so supportive and knowledgeable, and they just like have this tenacity about them that um I can't say anything bad about that. Like they're just like the coolest people. The energy perfect storm is just like you have everything there, like everything. So it's funny because like sometimes Daniel will write me like something in the program and I'm like, "Hey, I don't have all like the bells and whistles that you like like if Tommy sees something cool, she's like, "Yeah, we need this for the gym. This is great." Like and it's like and it works well, but then I have to like rig something up all different and crazy and stuff like that. But just Tommy and I have like a joke that we like have a great we always have like a great bench like when I bench with her and everything like that. So I do like to go up on I have off on Tuesdays, so I like to go up on Tuesdays and like bench with her or like join in with her training with Daniel and everything. He's super flexible with me to be able to like kind of get me in. So it's cool. It's really, really cool. I'm really grateful. And so I think her and I like I mean we've been teammates for a very long time now and I had Daniel as a coach this whole multiply you
Journey.
know journey. Yeah, yeah. In and out of it too cuz like I like went through like a phase where I was not doing well and like kind of dropped off the face of the earth and then I was just like I was like, I'm not like he wrote me a program and I was like, you can just stop writing it. And then I'd be like, and then I like got like a little gust of wind and I was like, yeah, I'll do it again. And then I would drop right back down. And I finally was just like, I was like, hey, will you take me back, please? And he was like, duh, of course. Like, so, and it's been pretty good since. So,
Yeah,
but
so but we can talk about that a little bit. So kind of if you want to explain kind of what you were going through at that time, but maybe tell us about what kind of brought you back. Is it something that was always in the back of your mind, or is it something that like there was something that kind of sparked it again? Or
so I, the guy that I was with, that got me into powerlifting, he like we broke up and but he was still like a training partner and like we're like still in my life. We were friends, like not there was like no bad blood or anything like that. And I started dating somebody else that kind of was just like a little bit more controlling and didn't like that me going to the gym and everything. And just the more of me being with him and not being with like my training partner and everything, I kind of got lost. Then just life happened with him and he I mean, I started drinking like very heavily. So then obviously I wasn't going to the gym because of that. And then um, I lost my job. And then I was a hairdresser, like devastated hairdresser for 15 years and then just lost my job. I didn't know what to do. And I had a friend that was like, well, come stay with me for a week. And I came up like 2 hours north and was like, and she was like, you should just move in. So we went and I literally just went back down, got a U-Haul, packed up my stuff and started over. And I was like, I need to reach out to Daniel again. Like, I need to get my life like the one constant and thing that was like consistent was training. And like Daniel was able to do that for me. And I was like, will you help me again? He was like, yeah. He reached out to like find people in the area because so the gym that I train in is literally the only gym in Brevard County that has a monolift. And I'm so lucky that it's literally 2 miles from my house.
Mhm.
I used to like drive like 45 minutes. Um, so I tried to get my life back on track. I moved somewhere I didn't know anybody. And then I start going to the gym again. He writes me a program. I was going to do the storm meet in 23 and I was in the gym and I'm a barefoot baddie in the gym and I dropped a 25-pound weight
oh,
on my toe and shattered it.
oh,
So I was in a boot and I was like, well, F this. I'm just going back right back down the rabbit hole. And I went to the storm meet and like I got my like stuff back on track, and just the consistency of showing like that's another thing about multiply lifting. I like want to like kind of get off on it, like is that you have to show up for people. Like the people that show up for you, you have to show up for them. So like um Kyle and Hannah, who I train with, like they show up for me consistently. Like, and then on the days that I need them. Like I need them to spot me. I need them to help me put me in my suit. I need them like, and you show up for them. So like that's it's something that like even if I didn't want to go, I was going for them, you know? And like once you get into that routine of doing that and everything, like everything kind of like in my mind shifted and I was able to get back onto like that track of dedication and just in a routine and just like everything else kind of like fell into place like after that. And I'm so happy with my life now. Like, you know, and then now I have Daniel and Tommy like an hour and a half away, which is like a super big blessing too. So I'm able to see them more.
Yeah,
But
yeah, and I think that's one of the great things with multiply. Like it forces you to have to rely on people, and there's a lot of people that don't like to rely on others. So when you kind of are forced to be part of a team, if you like, especially if you never grew up playing sports or anything, like if you are on a sports team and stuff, like you understand it, like that you have to rely on your teammates and stuff. Like thinking of like football, for example, like obviously if one person, the O line's not doing their job, the whole game's going to go to shit because it's a
yeah,
team effort. Same thing with multi-buy. If someone's not showing up for you and you have to adjust your training because you don't have your three man or you don't have someone that can wrap you, it's like it throws off the whole rhythm of everything. So it kind of forces you to not be lazy and to always show up no matter, even if you're injured on a deload, if you're sick, like you got to be there for people.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that that's what like when you were talking about earlier how like at the meets like that like we're all friends, like everybody's like super friendly, like it's a competition but it's more of a competition for yourself because like we're showing up for all these other people. Like you don't have something, we I didn't have deadlift socks for at the meet, and um somebody just like he was like, oh, I have an extra pair, and like I went and like had to borrow scissors from somebody like so that I could cut the bottoms of them off and everything. Like it's just somebody asked if you have tape, like you just this person you're competing against them and they're still going to give you something to help you like for it, like, and that's just all of everybody's handlers and everybody's teammates and everything would just go in and like, oh yep, yeah, we're spotting, like we need people on the sides, like everybody's doing the rack heights, everybody's like doing like all the different stuff, like it's like a no questions asked type of a thing. And it's a different type of camaraderie that I don't, if people weren't there in the back room or see how like lifting, like multiply lifting is, like it's a community.
Yeah.
It definitely way more than like raw lifting, I would say for sure. Like,
Yeah, because
and
there's no like you can become a great raw powerlifter and not have to talk to a single person ever. If you know what
yeah,
you're doing, you don't even need a coach. You can just train hard. You can, if you know how to peak, you just go. You bring your knee sleeves and your belt and you get in your singlet and you go compete. You don't need to make
mhm,
friends, but that's why I love multiply so much. Because I mean, yes, there is raw community and there is friends in that raw world, and I feel like it's more so it's more clicky because there's kind of more like niche groups. Like you got your tested sleeve group of friends that do all the USAPL meets, and then you have your untested rap guys that do all of like the APS meets, and like they have their big monster totals and they only talk to each other. And so
yeah,
it's way more clicky. When multiply is like, yeah, we all are a bunch of broken toys that like to wear our diapers and go try to lift heavy weights, and there's really not much more to it than that. So
yeah, yeah. And like after everybody's like lifts, you know, like everybody like makes sure that everyone's good. Like you're walking by somebody and you're like, oh, did you get that last one? Like, did you like what happened? Like, you know, like we we're excited for each other about those kinds of things. Bless you.
and so kind of getting into the meets itself, I kind of see that right when you got into multiply, you kind of started already doing like the top level meets. Like you've done the WPO, you've done the Showdown, you've done Holy Wars, you've done just a bunch of these big meets. So what was that like, kind of getting thrown into the fire like that immediately, almost?
Um a blessing, like, and super grateful for it, but also like kind of like a numbing kind of a like experience too. I don't know really how to explain it. Like it doesn't like So my first meet, no, my second multiply meet qualified me for, that's when the WPO had the like the semifinals and then the finals. Like, because they've changed it like a lot, like however they do things and stuff like that. But it was the semifinals in at the Arnold in 2020 when the world shut down. That was very
Yeah,
interesting.
there
They were
was
like,
nobody there, right? Yeah.
I was like cutting weight in the bathtub, and I'm just like, and like the guy came in, he was like, "Hey, so they said that they're, like, shutting everything down," and I was like, "Well, let me know if I can eat and have a sip of water right now or, like, if I'm gonna do this." Um, but so I qualified for it, like, on my second, like, multiply meet, and that so he was very because all of because he was so knowledgeable in, um, just like all of the bigger meets at the time, that he pushed for them like way earlier, like before, like I was kind of like, he's like, you should do this. Like, if you qualify for this, like you should do this. Like, and I'd be like, okay. Cause like, and kind of like naive in the sense of just like, it's a meet and I get to travel and I get to go do here. Like, that's cool. Like, not realizing the magnitude of it to others of like how significant it is. Um, which I don't know if that makes it like worse, that like just kind of being oblivious to it or like being humble for it. I don't, but like I'm super grateful for it. Like it's really cool. But I did, yeah, because then I did the WPO that year. So that was, since I did it like so early, I've like everybody else that's like taught, I mean, because there's been like a whirlwind about WPO since then. So, I kinda just wanna stay out of it that now, and I'm like, but I wanna support people that still wanna do it because of what, it stands
Yeah.
for the multiply community,
Yeah.
like, what it stands for. Like, I might not agree with some of the things that, like, go on, but I'm super happy for other people that, like, if this is their opportunity now to do it because of the significance for them and, like, what it is, like, what it stood for, then I support them in doing that.
Yeah, that's kind
That's
of like kind of going into that a little bit. Like I'm kind of on the same boat, and that's kind of like I just want to do it once just to say I've done it because it's kind of like if you were to if every multiply lifter had a resume, it's kind of like if you went to Harvard, like, oh, you did the WPO, like you're a legit lifter. Even
yeah,
like no, like obviously, yes, the competition is not necessarily what it used to be, and there's a little more drama in the world of it, and it's kind of one of those things where like, yeah, I know all the stories, I know all the people who like it, dislike it, everybody who hates everybody, everybody who loves everybody, but at the same time, it's still the W. It still has that name to it, and
yes,
so I'll do it. If I don't like it, I won't do it again. But to just at least say I did it once, and the fact that it's at York Barbell, which is a historic place in general, like it's
yeah.
more of the history behind it than the actual meet itself now. And I think it's
The
kind,
significance for what the name stood for
yeah,
in the multiply community. I support you in doing that. I think you absolutely should. Any like what, you qualified this year for it? I actually haven't even, like, looked for at
yeah.
anything really.
Yeah, so and that's I was gonna ask you that too, is like, um, how did it work with the whole semifinals and thing? Because I'd never really paid attention to how that, like, worked and how that really changed, so what was the is it like anyone could do the semifinals to get into it, or how did that kinda work?
So, the semifinals, I guess the way that it used to be was that you had to have a certain Glossbrenner. And then, and then so that qualified you for the top, it was the top 30. So I think, like, now what he's doing is just, like, inviting the top 30.
Mhm,
Like, before it was for the semifinals thing, it was the top 30 competed at semis, and then the top 15 from there went to the finals,
uh,
and that's how he did it.
okay,
Um,
yeah.
Because are they doing semifinals this year or no?
I don't believe so. That's why I was confused because I didn't even know the semifinals were like a thing until I've seen it on people's open powerlifting, and then I saw like obviously my name on the top 30, and I got the invite, and I was like, is this for a semifinals? Is this for the actual WPO? And like, so I was a little confused on that, but I think I'm assuming now it's probably just the top 30, just maybe because of kind of how it's declined as the meet, but as multiply in a whole, and who knows, maybe it'll go back to what it was, or maybe we'll see what happens this year, because I know they want to make a lot of changes after what
Yeah,
happened last year. So that's kind of
yeah,
what I'm excited to see too, is if they can pull it together and make it that way, then we can have the Holy Wars in the spring, WPO in the fall, and then pretty much every multiply lifter will be at those two meets, and you'll have that high level of competition at both meets, which is something
yeah,
that I think, well, powerlifting in general misses, but especially the raw world with so many pro meets going on, you miss out on getting all those top level lifters at the same meet and actually competing
yeah.
against each other.
Because when they're, like, very close to each other too, or just, like, that, like, little window of going, I mean, or you could just be crazy like Tommy and just go right from Holy Wars to Pro-Am 6 weeks later.
I think a lot of the females are doing that too. And
We do a lot, yeah.
that's what's exciting about Holy Wars next year is, I mean, obviously it's not exciting that the pro am's going to be done, because that's a great meet, but next year we should be able to get pretty much all the top level females, because there won't be the pro am that they're doing anymore. So it'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see what we can improve on that next year. And I think a lot of people miss the mark from what they've seen on social medias, because they're just judging lifts and not what actually went into it.
Mhm. I don't think that there's a lot of, because, like, I know well, Florida has a lot of multiply lifters, but, like, there's some areas that, like, there's maybe 1 or 2 multiply lifters that are going to, like, one of the, like, the smaller meets and everything like that, so they're not really actually seeing or understanding, like, what an actual, like, when it's only multiply, like, when it's all, like, um, so that would be very cool, and February is not spring. We would need to make
So we're
it.
probably we're thinking of moving it to March if we keep it in, if we keep it at Evolve, which obviously my opinion is biased and I want it there again, so I don't have to travel. But also, it's just a great like venue for, like, if we're at the old location, I would say yeah, let's move it. But the new spot is just so perfect for a meet with the own separate warm up room and just the layout of the venue. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
I thought that it was great the way that it was set up, like, the back room was, like, enough room for like, how many people did we have?
As competitors, I think it was
15, like
30 32 or something like that. I think it was like
okay.
14 females, 18 guys, I think. So,
So, like, with that and all the handlers and, like, crew and everything in the back, I mean, that's how it always is, just with, like, everybody's bags and luggage and everything everywhere, but I don't feel like anything was overly crowded where you, like, literally couldn't move or anything like that. It's just, like, everything was on the deadlift platform forms for squats, and then you just moved it over to somewhere else for when we had a deadlift. Um, I thought the venue was great.
yeah, and I
I
think one of the things that we're gonna do if we keep it there again and move it to March where it's warmer up, we'll have like a little tent set outside that everyone can put all their shit, so the warm up room is just empty. And like obviously we're getting the feedback and stuff to try to improve on next year. And we don't necessarily need to go into the meat specifically, but in kind of in general, what are some of the things that makes you love a meat versus like maybe not want to do it again?
um, hmm. Communication, definitely, and I feel like there was a lot of communication there for, just, like, let them know that they were wrapping up, like, the 3rd attempt, or that there was gonna be, like, a 10-minute break, or that, like, and then coming back and being like, "We're gonna be like, we're 5 minutes into the 10-minute break," like, because we lose track of time when you're back there, like, warming up and getting in stuff and everything like that, so communication, um, I never think that it has to be, like, bougie, but, like, it just, like, has to be, like, there was enough bathrooms, like, there was like, that was good, like, they were food suppliers there and everything, like, it was interactive experience for, like, the audience too, like, they were able to kinda, like, go out and, like, like, all the stuff that you guys the vendors and everything that you had set up out there. Music is awesome, like, I mean, it is really cool, like, all the lights that you guys do and everything, like, that is awesome, but it's more about just kinda the consistency of it all, like, I didn't get to see, um, a lot of the lifts, but I heard that there was the consistency. I know that people have discrepancies
Yeah.
about what it is, but the consistency of it. It's not like they were going, they were like one person was doing this way, one person was doing that way. Like it was kind of clear judging across the board. I mean, like I saw like two of my videos. Like I had a few people like video for me, and I was like, I saw my one video and I was like, my bench didn't go up and down. I didn't get the up and down call. And then I saw the other and I was like, oh yeah, I did. I did. Like,
Yeah.
fair enough. Like, whatever, you know? So like, and I'm not upset about it. So I think more like just the judging is fair. And before I get into something else, I want to say that like the reason the internet trolls are not making it easier for anybody if they want new judges or if they want to talk badly about the judges that um like how it's going on. Nobody wants to be a new judge if they know that they're just going to get completely annihilated
Yeah.
on the internet for doing their job and you're not even getting any type of video from their angles. So like they need to something needs to kind of be done about that. Like that's just not really like and the people that are talking about it don't even do multiply. So
Yeah, and so that yeah, a question with that too is obviously you started doing multiply in like in 2019. So since then, has it just been the same conversation for the past 7 years of just with multiply? Like, have you seen any sort of ups and downs of it, or any change or anything, or has it just been consistently people on the internet suck?
I think that a lot more have gained uh their balls to like say stuff on the internet. I'm really oblivious to the internet most of the time. Like I come on and I'll like look at something and then like I'll be like I was like familiar with your podcast, but like I really didn't actually like ever even know anything. Like there's other people that I'm like I don't even know who that is. Like and it's not like a bad like it's not I just
I'm not online.
so I
Yeah.
kind of stay out of it, but then I obviously like decide like every once in a while I'm like, all right, I'm bored. Say something, you know, but most I think that it's always been there. I just think that a lot more people because of drama with other things, um, people have beef with people in general, and then it spins into crews having beef with other people, and that's when they decide to talk about something that isn't even the actual issue.
Yeah.
And that's what spins into another one, and then it's like, well, that person did that, and it's like, okay, but that has nothing to do with what just happened. And now a whole side topic is getting talked about, like, and it's like, and everybody jumps on the bandwagon.
Yeah, and I think the funniest thing too is like when I was a raw lifter, I didn't give a flying fuck about what a single person in equipped lifting did. So I it just baffles me that like why do they even care? Because
Yeah,
I can't see myself caring about something that at that point one I've never done or had interest in to begin with. Like yes, it's the same sport, quote unquote, but it's not. Like you think high jumpers care about what pole vaulters are doing? No, it's the
right.
same thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I even don't for my own mental, like, I don't even know what's going on with I didn't look or, like, see what was going on with other women that were, like, what they were doing in their training. I mean, I don't post any of my training really just because I'm not an internet person, but, I didn't even go to, like, try and, like, look to, like, worry about what they're doing because what they're doing is not making me stronger.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And, like, so, like, Lisa and Julene and oh my goodness, why am I blanking on the other one right now? Why am I just know her Instagram handle, One Fit Pig.
Leah.
The three overkill girls,
Leah,
yeah.
yeah.
Amazing. Like they're so badass. Like all of them are so strong. And like definitely like if I had a good like a really good day, I didn't have a bad day. If I had a really good day, like all of our numbers would have been like super, super close. And if I was worried about any of their stuff beforehand, like it wouldn't have benefited me in any way to like, you know what I mean? Like they all had great meets. Like Julene even like had like, you know, the camaraderie type of a thing. Like, didn't Logan come in and like she had a handler cancel on her,
Yeah.
and somebody had to come in and help that like has never handled her before. Like, that's just what we do. Like, so I just think the internet is. a silly place.
Yeah, and
It helps and it doesn't, and you just kinda have to pick and choose what you wanna see or what you wanna deal with.
yeah, and it's funny you talked about just kind of like not necessarily caring about what other people do in their training. It's funny to kind of think about how different people approach meets because I'm the exact opposite. Like with like Donnie and Connor Boyle and stuff, like we kind of go like neck and neck on some things. Like me and Connor are kind of similar pullers. Donnie obviously crushes us on bench, and then we kind of all squat around the same. And so like during prep, like we have the same prep, so we're like trying to chip each other here and there and stuff. And it's
Yeah,
like we have that own little competition. Like that's how my brain works. I'm like, I want to beat this person on this lift this week and then this week and then this week because then when it comes to meet day, I think I'll have the edge. And it's just a different approach to it. And I mean, it might not be a good approach, but it might be at the same time. So
no, but you guys are all like friendlier, like not that I'm not friendly with them, but I don't really like communicate with them like
yeah,
on a daily basis. So like it's not like that like kind of like fun competition like in the gym type of a thing. So like it's more of just like seeing somebody on the internet and being like, oh well, I didn't get that this week. Like that's where my mind could go. So it's just like, why would I even and um because our coefficients are like so close, like when body weight and everything like that, that like I just whatever's there that day is there that day, and what somebody else is doing isn't going to change it. I like actually don't even like really look if there is like a closeness. Like I mean, well, that's the handler's job to
yeah,
like kind of manipulate the numbers, you know, to like figure it out, and to like look at the lifting cast stuff. But I wouldn't even like contemplate or like think about what I would have to do to win at the meet until deadlifts, until like my second deadlift to see like what's going on
yeah,
because you never know what the other person is going to be able to do that day
yeah.
or
Oh, well, that is one of the benefits to me being in the middle of the pack is I don't even have to worry about trying to win. I'm just going out there and trying to get a total.
yeah. Well, and that's what I do. Like so Tommy and I do this thing where we talk like little wins. Like I don't know if anybody follows Tommy, she like is very organized with knowing what she did, when she did it, like how she like how the PRs of like all of the little things, very analytical with like the numbers and stuff like that. And so before the meet, well, like we obviously go into like training with like our big goals, right? Like, and then before the meet, we're like, okay, well, like if we do this and this will be a PR on my deadlift, and this will be like a total in the past 5 years that I've like gotten this, like all like the little wins. I mean, my little win, that red bench shirt that I benched in, I didn't touch in that the entire prep. I literally wanted to burn it in the parking lot every single week. And the only reason I didn't is because it wasn't mine. I was borrowing it. And so the plan was for that meet was to do my trusty blue shirt open and then do a second attempt in the blue shirt and then just take the red shirt for a ride on the third attempt. Well, my first attempt felt like shit. Like I was like, so why would I go and try and like kill my back on the second attempt in the blue shirt? And I was like, let's just do the I'm in the meet.
Yeah,
I'm in the meet. So
yeah,
like let's just do this now. And so like it sounds like the lamest thing, but touching even though I didn't get my second or third attempt, touching in the red shirt was my win of the day. Like, that was, like, my win of the day. Like, I got a 5-pound PR on squat, that's cool, but, like, this shirt that I've been fighting with to actually be able to touch in it, like, was pretty cool. So, it's, like, more about, like, all the little things. There's so many aspects to it,
yeah.
like
That's another awesome thing about multiply is you can get a lot of more little wins because there's so many variables, and you try to stack those little wins, and then you get a big one. So
mhm. Yep. And I feel like I did have, like, a lot of big ones for the past, like, couple meets. I mean, from, like, Holy Wars last year or the one yeah, the one at Hellbent, that one was, like, huge PRs, and then, for squat and deadlift, and then, Storm was even bigger PRs. I hit for over 1,400, which was, like, a big goal of mine for, like, a really long time, so I can't really, like, be, like, mad about like, it's when you're in this sport longer, the little one like, you're not making crazy crazy PRs. Like,
Yeah, you kind of have to adjust adjust the goal line essentially. Like you said, the wins will come less frequently, but if you can kind of pick and choose, not pick and choose, but set smaller wins, you can almost like stimulate your brain in the same way as like when you'd hit a huge PR on a lift. You can be like, well,
yeah,
I did this today. It's like I did this and I did this that I haven't done before. And so you got to kind of just change what the progress markers are instead of like the amount you're making.
yeah, yeah. Because 5 pound, because I really wanted, if I had gotten my 688 squat, it would have put me like second all time, which I'm sixth all time right now. Like, that's pretty freaking cool, you
Yeah.
know? Like, but I don't need to jump to second all time right now. Like, why can't I just been, and so I should have squatted like 666, and then I would have bumped myself to fifth all time.
Yeah.
But it is like, in hindsight, like I can see I got greedy. I did. Like, I thought that having a longer off season would like make it so that I would like be strong, like that much stronger. And I got greedy. So I I know now. I'm ready, and I'm gonna just do another meet. And I'm just gonna hit something at the other meet.
Yeah.
Like,
What meat do you
I
have
was
planned
like,
next?
I'm never gonna do it again. I don't know. I um there's one in Orlando. At CTX, which is like another like gym that the like team that we train with a lot. But one of my teammates is doing it, and I like, she is so supportive of us that like I just really like want to be like supportive of her. So I don't really know what one's after that because I don't want to wait until too long. So I'm just gonna, I told Daniel to kind of like prep me for, we'll see like what happens. But it would probably be, if it wasn't that, then it might be October, I think. So, but I want to be there for her for that. But then like, after you get in after a meet, you're just like itching to like, you're like, I can do this, I can do this and do this, and I can do this better, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems that I kind of started to run into, and I saw myself going down that path of like, I do 7 meets a year, then I'm done in 3 years type of thing, and I was like, all right, we're gonna take a little step back, and that's why, like, I'm not like to me a raw meat in sleeves doesn't count because it's just so different. Like, yeah, you're a little sore and stuff, but your CNS doesn't explode and want to die after.
Yeah,
So like, I'm waiting. I'm not competing again for 8 months like with the WPO, and because I did Strength of Heroes in September, and then I did Halloween Havoc in October, and then I did Holy Wars 3 in February. And it's like I need a little bit of a break before my CNS just shuts down and I'm in a
yeah,
wheelchair.
yeah. I mean, but like all of those ones are so much fun to like be able to do, and like you got to experience them. Like they were like the big ones that you've like been able to like check off like your list,
Yeah,
So
exactly. And
uh,
I think that's a problem that a lot of multiply lifters have too is we do so many meets and we can't be doing so many meets with especially with just like the simple fact that we're always overloading all of our top strength and it's not sustainable and like the prep I just went through was absolutely brutal and that's not sustainable. So like from now on 2 to 3 meets a year max and one of them is probably going to be raw.
yeah, yeah. And I think for me too is to kind of choose. I don't like, I traveled so much for meets like earlier in like the earlier years and stuff like that, that I don't wanna do that all the time, like, flying with all of my gear and, like, just it's a whole week process, like, you have to fly. When you fly, you retain water, so then I have to get there a day before, and then I have to do the day of cutting, and then I have weigh-ins, and then I have, like, so that's a week,
Yeah.
like, of just so I since multiply the meets are so many in Florida, kind of just probably gonna stick to a few Florida. And if the new ones, if there's any like big new ones that come out, I'll be interested in it. And I really enjoyed Holy Wars, so if I get invited to Holy Wars next year, I'll definitely be doing that
Yeah.
for sure, for sure.
And so for you, how does travel like I know you mentioned you have to like retain water and do the cut and all that, but generally speaking, how does traveling affect your performance on the platform?
Um, travel. I don't think that much. I've just kind of I mean, like, going to it's the colder weather. I mean, I work outside, so, like, my body temperature is always warm, and I live in Florida, so, like, I'm always warm, so, like, my biggest thing is, like, making sure that I my cuts are super easy now, but my biggest thing is just making sure that I'm moving the day after weigh-ins, that I'm moving, like, that I have to, like, get my steps in and stuff like that and, like, keep my, like, body warm and everything, and when I do that, I eat the same breakfast after weigh-ins every time, like, I eat the same, dinner, like, Olive Garden is easy, trusted.
See, you get it.
Yeah, absolutely, so I eat the same things on meat day. Like I don't try to change really anything. So as long as I'm moving around and I don't feel like the traveling really affects me, it's I just have to keep my body temperature warm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
for me, it's kind of, I notice if I go travel for, like say I go to F8 and we're training, like, my lifts take a huge hit, so I haven't had to travel super far for a meet yet, just, like, New Jersey, New York, and things like that, and, like, that's usually okay because it's not but once I get past that, like, 6-hour mark, I have to take an extra day because that's when my recovery, like, shits the bed and I just don't perform nearly as well, and I don't even cut, so
Yeah. Yeah. It's I mean the plane ride because I go to like a couple days ahead of time, like the plane ride, like I'm already kind of like getting off, like all of that. I just can't sit for that long. So like honestly, like if I driving to like a meet like on the other side of the state, like actually like I feel like affects me more like than because I'm sitting for like 4 hours and then going to like weigh-ins and then, affects me more than like actually like traveling,
yeah.
like in a plane wise
Yeah,
for me.
that's because I haven't actually flown for a meet yet.
Yeah.
It's like the 6-hour, 8-hour
Just
drives where it's like
sitting
you
in a car.
yeah,
Absolutely. For sure. Yeah. That's
especially on squat and deadlift because like, you're it's funny, people don't realize that driving is actually very high CNS fatigue just for especially if you're the one actually driving because the awareness factor and things like that,
mhm.
you're exhausted, but even just sitting in the back seat for an 8-hour drive, like, you need an extra day.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. It just your body needs to like get used to it again. And just like even training I've noticed a difference when I drive up an hour and a half to Storm and then like have to I get there like an hour early so that I can like literally like sit and roll out and like do like all my mobility and stuff and because sitting in a car is just not like I can tell my performance is different on those days than the days that I go in and like at my gym where I'm not like I mean it's 3 minutes up the road so it's a little bit different so
Yeah.
yeah
But so I
definitely
know
those
you haven't necessarily picked out a meet yet, but I know you do have your eyes on that 1,500 total. What do you think are some of the things that's gonna be crucial to you getting that there?
the confidence that I have in the new, red SDP for sure. My bench is a sad little baby bench,
Same.
so that can definitely help, if I get that in the 3s, even in, like, the low 3s, I feel like that would help the total a lot. Chipping away at the, um at the squat is I mean, like, I definitely have the potential, I feel like, to hit 688 by the end of the year. Like, it was there, it was all of a kind of a misgroove, and I just wasn't gonna fight to grind it out
Yeah.
and then not have a good bench or deadlift. I learned that twice to do that, and then I bombed both of those times on bench, so that's why I just kinda don't do that anymore. Um, I feel like the bench and the squat would really deadlift I can chip away at. I'm just happy with like little PRs for that right now. I pulled 501 at Storm last year. And so I was gonna go for like 507 at Holy Wars, but I misgrooved on my hips were too far behind me on my second attempt, so I just dropped it, and I was like, I would rather keep my total better and just do it again than to try and have an ego lift and go for uh, like 507. So
Yeah. So
I think
would you say it's more so any adjustments to the training or just kind of being able to put it together on at meet day?
put, putting it together on weekday. Yeah. I mean, Daniel does, I like, Daniel does all of the training kind of like and sees like how it goes and stuff. I think maybe the only thing that I might wanna change is not doing I think my deadlift has changed a little bit because I did a lot of chain work this past, prep, and because the percentages are so much higher now because my lifts are so much higher, I had a lot of fucking chain in between my legs, so I had to, like, have my hips back and, like, my positioning changed to go to, like, be able to, like, adjust to that, and then it didn't kinda go right back
Yeah.
when I didn't have the chains. So, like little tweaks like that. I think that the confidence in the bench shirt, though, in the red shirt, is going to really help because now I'll be able to like actually do what he wants me to do and not tell him to absolutely not when I don't like how it feels.
Yeah. And for me, bench is definitely like if you just look at my deadlift and my squat, like it keeps up with a lot of the people that are at the meet, and then you look at my bench, you're like, oh boy. And it's like if
Yeah,
I can one, I just want to put on some size and kind of make my shirt tighter because I don't want to. I love the shirt I use, but I can touch pretty easily in it. Like I never struggle to touch at all, and like we can crank it sometimes, and I can still touch pretty easily. So either one, I just need to get a new shirt or just fill in that shirt, which I plan to do anyways because I still haven't filled out my weight class, and I think that'll be good for my bench. So I'm finally starting to figure that out. And then
yeah,
squat and deadlift, I just kind of need to keep chipping away at that. I do have some adjustments I want to make on the deadlift and the squat. I don't think really anything needs to be changed. Just start adding more weight and try to get to that 1100 mark in the next year or so would be sweet. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. That's how I am. My squat, my deadlift, and my total are all like top 15. And my bench, I would have to scroll, like
I'm the same way. If you go to like 275 tested, they're like, all right, there's my squat, and then skip the bench. Deadlifts like I think number three, and then
Yeah,
totals like I haven't checked the total yet. It's probably I think it's like top 10 or something, but the bench is not even like I don't even know if I can scroll down that far.
yeah. I just the but that's why, like, my bench, I feel like suffers a lot, and I learned it the last, like, couple of times. My bench suffers a lot in a meet because I know what I'm capable of on my squat, and I know that I can grind it out and, like, really get it, that it wrecks my back for 2 hours, like, 2 hours later, like, my erectors are just shot, and then I can't get into the bench position, and then I'm not having the leg drive, and then that suffers. So, like, it's kind of just more of like having a collective meet. Like, I can either go and if I want just a squat, then be happy with my bench and my deadlift not like being as great. But like, if I want the collectiveness of it, then I have to be more like let the ego down a little bit on all the lifts to kind of get that like full total.
Yeah, and I do think this is kind of a PSA to all multiply lifters. I think the biggest area that we could all improve in as a whole is not upper back strength, but upper back conditioning. Because I one thing I did notice at Holy Wars was, including myself, a lot of us were losing deadlifts by falling forward because we weren't being able to stay back. And obviously, your bench takes a hit, and that's
Yeah.
all upper back stuff. So that's another thing I'm going to be hammering in the off season. So because
Yes.
my pull is like probably my best lift, and to only put like when the 766 on my second attempt where I fell forward, like I smoked it. I should have if I could have just held it for a half a second more, I would have gone for that 800 and I'm pretty sure I would have hit it, but we had to make that adjustment. And I think it wasn't a platform issue. It wasn't a setup issue. It was literally just you get forward with that upper back because you can't.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
fatigued as shit.
Yep. Yeah. That is one of the things I noticed, and one of I drift in and out of like with my training is like I specifically go on like 3 days like with people, but then like my like fourth day is kind of like like whenever I can make it in because of like how my work schedule is and stuff. And I need to, and like part of it is like a lot of back day stuff. So I need to go in and I need to do that shit. Like I just need to do it. Like I so that is one of the bigger things. And I say that like every other time because then I do it. And then I'm like, yeah, now my back is stronger. And then I kind of like, I don't need to do this as much. And then it affects me in this way. And I'm like, all right, back to reality. Like, gotta do it. So
Yeah.
that's definitely gonna be happening this cycle for sure.
Yeah, but I think we can wrap things up here. So I'll ask you my final question. If you could give a new lifter or someone going into their first meet a word of advice, what would you tell them?
Um, have somebody with you that knows what they're doing. Have a handler that can speak for you to kind of like maneuver around. Don't be an asshole. You deserve your place there just as much as the seasoned lifters. Um, but don't have your ego take over and try to push your way through. The handler needs to be aware so that you're not pissing other people off.
Yeah,
You're not gonna be unprepared and be like, "Oh, hey, can you strip down the 6 plates and be able to, like, do the bar really quick?" It's like, "Well, why weren't you in the rotation before?" Like, so just don't you need somebody to have awareness and do everything the same that you did in the gym. Don't decide to do something completely different on that day. Like, warm up the same, do your lifts the same. Don't decide to, "I think I should try to do my feet 3 inches wider today." Not today. Let's do that next time. So,
yeah, I fully agree. Well, I wanted to thank you again for taking the time to come on. It was my pleasure.
thank you.
Listen, I don't have a beard. I've got this glorious mustache. But even this stash deserves elite care. That's where Wicked Wolf Beard Co. comes into play. Their oils and balms keep the face fuzz fresh, soft, and ready for action. No crusty cowboy nonsense here. It smells great, feels great, and makes me look more like I lift heavy things. Beard, mustache, or something in between, Wicked Wolf's got your mug covered. Wicked Wolf Beard Co. Respect the stash. Head on over to Wicked Wolf Beard Co. and use code PLDEN for 25% off your order.